Hey, what's going on guys? It's me, Spaza17, hope you're doing well, and welcome to my Linux Tech Tips tutorial today. Okay, so as you guys know, I actually recently gotten myself a new PC. I'm using it right now. It's basically empty. All I have on it is Sony Vegas, Discord and Osu. That's really all I need to be a good gamer. I thought since I have a new PC and I have to optimize it for myself, I might as well just make a tutorial for you all so you can stop asking me about it. This guide is mostly geared towards people who have Windows 10, so if you are one of those big brain Linux users, I'm sorry, but this is not gonna help you in any feasible way, probably. And obviously, being a tablet player, this is also more geared towards tablet players, but I'm actually gonna show you some settings that can be applied and can help you optimize your Windows and your OSU experience, even if you're a mouse player or touchscreen player even, maybe. I can't actually vouch for that. So this one zip file which I made is gonna be down there in the description. It's pretty straightforward, you just have to extract it and bam, you have this amazing beautiful folder that's less than 10 megabytes by the way, but trust me, it's going to change your life. Before we do that, however, I'm just gonna show you some general Windows settings that you want to change in order to maximize your performance, and this doesn't even have to do with OSU necessarily, it's just settings that I personally recommend because it's just gonna make everything way faster, and of course even for gaming. So first thing we want to do is going to this PC, right click, go properties, then we go to advanced system settings, and at that point we go to the performance tab, which is basically the third one by the way in advanced. We go to these settings and we are going to adjust them like this. Now most of this stuff is basically just visual stuff that makes your Windows look very cool, very modern and very nice, but it really fucks up your performance, which is why you should ideally disable most things out here. As you can see, I only have 3 things enabled, and I mean, my system looks fine, it works very well and it's way faster. Now of course, you can change them however you want. I personally recommend taking them all out because for the most part it's just animations, maybe smooth edges if you want to keep them, but at the end of the day it doesn't really matter, you have to still disable most of those things, or at least that's my personal Linux tech tip. That's the first thing you want to do. Second thing, which is a bit minor, it's not really a huge deal, but if you're a mouse player it could actually be a huge deal. So you're gonna go to your control panel, type in mouse, change mouse settings, go to pointer options and disable this thing which is enhance pointer precision, because it's basically useless and it doesn't do anything other than fucking up your mouse positioning, which is something that you don't want, especially in OSU. Another thing you can do, you can search for power options. So you go into this tab right here and you basically just go to additional power settings and you're gonna choose high performance. Now based on your CPU, as you can see, there are other options, for example AMD Ryzen balanced, ultimate performance, which provides the ultimate gaming experience if you want to play Fortnite, but me personally, I think high performance is nice enough. I still haven't experimented with this, maybe I will in the future, but for most people it's gonna be high performance, so just pick that, reboot your PC, and now we can get over some other stuff. So if you have an NVIDIA video card, you can just do this thing right now, which is opening the NVIDIA control panel, which I'm sure all of OSU players are familiar with because they change the gamma every single map. But either way, you go to manage 3D settings, and here we want to change some stuff. Now there was this one setting that was called maximum pre-rendered frames, and ideally you want to keep that at 1, but in the newer drivers that's actually not available anymore, as you can see, because it's been replaced by low latency mode, which is you know, it's basically the same thing and it's gonna be off by default, and you actually want to turn this on because it just makes everything better in essence. Another thing you want to do is go to your power management mode, and instead of having optimal power you want to have prefer maximum performance. Of course we want more performance, the most amount of performance possible. We of course go to triple buffering, this needs to be off, and I cannot stress this enough, it needs to be off. Same thing for vertical sync. And there we go. So we're going to apply that, and that's basically it for all of the Windows settings that we can do without necessarily going into my zip archive yet. but trust me, now it's time to do that. Opening up the folder that I just extracted, we have 6 tools with us today that we're gonna look at and actually use. So the first one is called Shut-Up10. And I know from this name and from this nomenclature, osu-10, it seems like a virus, but trust me, you can Google this, it's a very reliable tool and it's actually quite nice. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna open this up. I'm sorry if my monitor becomes black, by the way, but that's what's gonna happen when you basically open up something as administrator. But as you can see, we have all of those things right now, and we're going to go to Actions, Apply Only Recommended Settings. And now this is very important, guys. You want to create a system restore point ideally, because I have done this many times and it never really fucked up anything, but with your system it could be a different story. So if you want to create a system restore point, which basically means that you're gonna be able to go to this very exact same point you are at right now in time, go back in time if something fucks up, you can easily just do it through this program. Now in my case, as I said, even if this is strongly recommended, I'm not gonna do that because I already know that it's gonna work for me. But basically what this does is it disables a lot of Windows 10 useless settings or stuff that's running in the background and just makes your system slower. So again, even if this is for OSU, it's just a good guide in general, at least in my opinion, to get rid of some of that useless junk that's going on in Windows 10 right now. See, Linux users don't have those issues at all. Anyway, we're gonna close this and you're probably gonna be asked to reboot your PC, but we can do that later, it's fine. Second tool we wanna use, it's very similar in nature, it's Windows 10 debloater. As you guys know, Windows 10 is once again full of fucking random bullshit that you don't really need. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna install PowerShell, which I don't even know if you need to install it truthfully. I'm pretty sure it just comes by default on your machine, or maybe it did for me, I have no idea. But what you have to do is you have to open up either one of those 3 scripts. And by the way, once again, this is all open source, it's a reliable script, it's not anything that's gonna fuck up your computer. If you want to search this on Google, there is actually a GitHub page, because again, I'm pretty sure it's completely open source. But anyway, we are going to open up Windows 10 debloater with PowerShell, and as you can see, I get this now, which is basically what you want. So you have debloat options and you want to remove all bloatware. That's exactly what you want to do. This is gonna basically get rid of all the useless junk that Windows has, and I think this also includes the Xbox app that just runs in the background for no fucking reason. You don't need that, trust me. Another thing I personally like is to disable Cortana, because it's fucking stupid, and also stop Edge PDF takeover, because nobody uses Edge PDF, as well as uninstall OneDrive, because at least in my opinion, I don't really use it. But you know, those things, they are optional changes. As it says here, the big part of it is gonna be removing all bloatware, so make sure to click on that. And now the program and the script rather is basically gonna do everything by itself. All you have to do is wait, and that's basically it. So let's wait. As you can see, the script is telling me that it's finished all of its tasks, just like me when I play Among Us with people on my Discord server. Make sure to join, link will be in the description. And now we can do other stuff. As I said, I can disable Cortana because I don't like it. I can stop this. I can uninstall OneDrive because I don't give a shit. And I can also disable telemetry/tasks because, yeah, it's another one of those things that I personally don't like, but it really depends on you. Don't get too worried if you get those messages, by the way. They really are irrelevant at the end of the day. They are very minor things, it's not gonna matter too much. So now that we have done that, that's a huge thing. If you want, you can reboot your system, but me personally, I'm not gonna do that yet. Now the other thing you want to use is ViziblrFixMyPen. This is only if you are on tablet, of course, but before we use that, actually I think we need to install the tablet driver first. So before I touch all of those programs, which are FixMyPen and Devocub, the tablet driver, I'm actually gonna use this, which, see, this is the only program, I have no idea where this comes from. I only found it thanks to Rustbell. But to be honest, I trust Rustbell more than I trust my family at this point, so I definitely trust this, but if you don't, well, you are free to do your own research, I suppose. This program is quite simple. All you have to do is open up and then locate your OSU folder, which in my case it's gonna be on the programs OSU and osu.exe. So we open this up. As you can see, there is a thing that says status not enabled. and I'm going to enable it. There we go. Also, see, now I can finally figure out that this registry hack was made by Smoogie Poo, which is a very reliable person. So if you have any doubts and if you think the Chinese government is gonna steal your data because of this, now you are free to just ask him about it, and it's probably, you know, clear up any misunderstandings. But yeah, anyway, now we can go back and install Devocub. Now this is of course very subjective. You can experiment around with whatever tablet driver you personally prefer. This is basically a fork of that Devocub driver, the most famous osu gaming tablet driver that's available. Me personally, I prefer Devocub because it just feels better for me, it feels more smooth, it's way better for gameplay in my personal opinion. It may be different for you, but in case you don't know, you basically just have to click on install vMulti-driver, press enter, and it's going to install everything. Once again, my you know, my display is just doing the thing that he likes to do. I clicked on that, I installed my drivers, and now that I press enter, all I have to do is open up tablet driver GUI, and that's my tablet driver right there. Now these are my settings personally. I like to have all of these enabled. I like to have smoothing filter as well as anti-chatter, but that's really your subjective opinion. If you want to change area, you can either do that with millimeters or by using the Wacom area, the Wacom values. Again, this doesn't really have to do with anything, it's just what I personally enjoy. Now, the other tool we want to use after having a tablet driver installed is FixMyPen, so we're going to just open this up as administrator, and it's gonna show up this very simple thing right here, which says that everything is bad at the moment. So you really can't go wrong with this one, guys. It's make everything bad or make everything good. Of course we want to have everything good, so we click on that. Great, now our pen is the best pen ever that Cookies himself or White Cat has been blessed with. So now we can refresh our status, and as we can see, it's still good, so we can close it, and now everything is basically optimized. Now I know what you're thinking, that's a whole entire folder right there, folder number 6, why are you not opening it? Well, from what I understood, this is kind of outdated, it really doesn't work anymore, and it only was really a problem if you had certain Wacom tablets, so I don't think it's worth going through it necessarily, but if you want to try and use it, because I didn't succeed in doing so, you can just read this readme file and try to follow the instruction to actually use this tool. This tool is basically supposed to change the hertz in which your monitor is receiving the signal. It's some complicated stuff. I mean, it's actually quite easy in practice, but I personally didn't manage to actually do it. So maybe if you can tell me down there in the comment section. But for most people, even just using my settings plus those 5 programs that I mentioned earlier, it's gonna make a huge, massive difference. So I don't think this is really too necessary at the end of the day. So let's open up the game and set this up. So we're gonna go through the options, alright? Now, when it comes to language, this is of course subjective. If you want to use metadata in the original language, it's basically gonna show you every single Japanese kanji or however those are called. If you want to be a weeb like that, me personally I'm fine with having everything in English, as well as not using an alternative font for chat, because at the end of the day, who really cares? I most certainly don't. Now, when it comes to releases, we have stable, which is of course the most stable osu client, admittedly, but me personally I like to use cutting edge, the experimental, just because, I don't know man, I feel like that's the best for me personally. That's once again subjective opinion, so if you want you can change that. Me personally I'm gonna do it right now. I'm gonna go with cutting edge, downloading it, and I'm going to update it so it shows up. And now we can look at some other settings. When it comes to the frame limiter, I like to go with optimal. I trust my dad Peppy to actually have good frames for me. If you are having lag spikes, you may wanna try unlimited, but at least from what I have experienced, unlimited is what gives me more lag spikes, so I just ended up going with optimal. Show FPS counter, this is subjective, it's basically just gonna show this thing in the corner right there if you're interested in that. I would never enable compatibility mode, because that's really only if your computer is a toaster, same thing for reduce dropped frames. And detect performance issues. I'm not too sure whether this is enabled or not, to be honest. I'm pretty sure I always keep it enabled because it doesn't really make a difference, but if you want you can just turn this off, it's probably gonna be fine. Your resolution, you want to have full screen on to not have any input lag. However, if you wanna play with a different resolution, just like I do, because I like to play at this particular resolution, in that case you need to use render at native resolution, because otherwise it's gonna have extra input lag, which you don't want. And by the way, if you're curious about it, because I most certainly didn't know about this, but those things basically allow you to change the position of the client itself, which is kind of cool, I guess, if you have some very specific needs. But me personally, I'm just gonna go with 0, 0, so everything is nice and centered. When it comes to the detailed settings, you can enable or disable snaking sliders. This is completely subjective. Me personally, I like to use them on no mode and hard rock, but anything above AR10 I actually like to disable this, because that extra animation can be kind of distracting for me. Background video disabled, storyboard disabled, hit lightning disabled, that's at least my own opinion. You can change the screenshot format if you want, I think JPEG is cool. Parallax, this is once again subjective, it's basically like a trip, like you move your cursor and the whole fucking client moves with it, I don't like it. Menu tips, I don't like them. Interface voices, that's fine because it's the welcome to OS, so I would 100% keep it, as well as the osu music theme. I mean, come on man. Song select, you can decide whether you want to show the thumbnails or not. Me personally, it really depends on your skin, I'm gonna disable this. Background dim, you wanna put 100%, so whenever you play it's gonna be black. And now you can decide whether you want it to change during breaks. Me, I like to plug this on so it's always black and I never get distracted, especially if I'm playing hidden, even though I rarely do. Top right pie, hit error, make sure to enable this so you can have your unstable rate bar, because color is essentially useless. I think only people in Catch the Beat use it, but hit error is very good for osu standard. Me, I like to enable the key overlay always, especially when I'm streaming on twitch.tv/spaza17. Insane gameplay, make sure to follow. And that's another subjective thing right there. You want to show the first approach circle on hidden or not. Personally, I don't really want this because it's very distracting and strange, so I like to take this out personally. Make sure to have 0 and 10, because sometimes if you touch this, many of your maps won't actually show up, which is bad, you don't want that. I don't know about the audio compatibility mode, to be completely honest. Sometimes it just fucks up, so you have to enable it in order not to have to change the offset on each and every single one of your maps, but for the most part you can also keep this disabled if you want to. That's gonna depend on you. You are gonna have to check it personally, this is very RNG. When it comes to the volume, my preferred settings are 60% music and 100% effect, which are basically the hit sounds. And I'm sorry guys, but I'm one of those people that ignores bitmap hit sounds, especially if they are quiet mappers. Why do you do that? I'm gonna also ignore all bitmap skins, because I don't really personally care about that. This kind of stuff is completely subjective, but I think these are good settings, generally speaking. Sensitivity, you need to keep this at 1 if you're using tablet, and if you are using mouse you must enable raw input, because that will make everything a lot better, because it will bypass Windows acceleration as it says within the client itself. Cursor ripples, this one is very subjective. Once again, it kind of looks cool. As you can see, when I click it's giving me those nice ripples, those nice nipples, but I don't really like it, so I find it distracting. I don't like to have that, so I personally disable that. Keyboard bindings, you can just change your keyboard bindings, and for everything else it's basically all subjective. This right here is within the editor, I believe, so you don't really have to care. You can enable or disable background videos or snaking sliders inside the editor itself. And now when it comes to this once again is just completely subjective. If you don't want to see spectators in the corner at the top left of your screen because it distracts you, you can easily disable this. I would definitely allow Discord rich presence, because who the fuck uses MSN Live anymore? Like, it's unreal. But I would also personally go with no video downloads, because let's face it, who the fuck plays osu bitmaps with videos? It's just gonna basically give you extra megabytes on your hard drive, which you want to avoid. In-game chat, that's again all up to you. And those are basically all of the in-game settings you want to touch. You can now go ahead and enjoy your optimized osu gameplay in 2020, hashtag let's fucking go, and really just a better experience in general when it comes to Windows 10 in my personal opinion, because this just makes your entire computer perform better. So even though it's an osu guide, this is really gonna apply to anything that you wanna do. At the last second I actually decided to include another tool in this pack, which is osu-cleaner. It looks very basic and it's a very strange looking program that looks like it was made in 1995, but trust me, this is actually extremely useful if you want to get rid of random junk. As you can see, you can delete videos from your bitmaps, which in this case I don't have any. You can also delete skin elements which take up a lot of memory. In this case it's very little because again I barely have any maps, but trust me, those numbers, when you have lots of maps and lots of unchecked maps, they're gonna be huge and they're really gonna save you a lot of memory. You can delete storyboard elements if that's your thing, as well as osu hit sounds, which really do take a lot of space. Look at that. Osu hit sounds are completely insane. I barely have any maps and that's already 109 megabytes I can get rid of, because at the end of the day I have those disabled for the most part. Now granted, if there are some maps that have insanely nice hit sounds and you actually want to enjoy them, then in that case you can do it. You can just re-download every single map you want. But for the most part, this is just a good way to save some space and have your osu be faster because you're getting rid of useless files. That is basically gonna be it from me. I hope you enjoyed this guide and I hope you can do everything safely. Please be responsible with your Windows machine. If you have any other tips or any other guides that you want to share with me and you share with us, make sure to write down in the comment section and join my Discord server. Everything is gonna be in the description, and yeah, that is basically it. I'll catch you guys later. Bye bye.